Okay, good evening all from GHGKQ. Okay, I see G7NTG who'll be on first, followed by Richard GI4DOH. Frantically trying to mute. Followed by Russ G4SAQ. Keith GU6EFB I think might be joining us. Looked a very good test signal there. Nigel 2E0EHH. Gareth G4XAT. And Mike G0MJW from his alternate QTH. Let's wind the power up a bit because some people are having a few issues. There we go. News for this week. CQTV should be in the mail tonight. I'm not sure many people will get it before Christmas, but should certainly arrive before New Year. That's the paper copies for those of you who subscribe. The activity contest, both on the repeater contest and the activity ladder, both start at midnight tonight, or at 001 tomorrow morning. Please give us just a little bit of time to sort out the actual scoring ladders. The person who normally does that has been very busy at work, so they'll be up in a couple of days. Just keep on using the bands and keep a record of what you've done, and we'll get the scoring ladders online as soon as we can. So without further ado, I'll put it round to Jim G7NTG, and I'll put the running order up in the chat from G8GKQ.
Right, turn that racket off. Good evening all. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, thought I'd better come on, otherwise I shan't be on for a while, will I? Not a lot to report, but I have been playing about with some of these little power amplifiers. Excuse the very poor camera work, but I've been working on these, and I've managed to up the power considerably. A little bit of retuning, and I'm going to do an article on it and I'll put that on my 23 Sems PA website. If anybody wants it, I can give them a link for that. I don't know whether it be necessary to do an article for CQTV, because that'll be so far in the future that by that time there won't be any more left. But as these come, they're managed about 30 watts at 2.4 gigs. Well, I've managed to coax between 70 and 90 out of them with very slight modification. Very easy to do, so very pleased with that. So although we've completely run out of the other type of pallet and I can't produce any more of any higher powers, just finished, there aren't any more. So I will be able to produce amplifiers that'll do 70 to 90 watts, which will do, I think, sort of 60 to about 70 watts P1 dB, which is actually, for 333 symbol rate, is perfectly adequate for the satellite. So hopefully we'll be able to get a few more people sorted out. Anyway, with that, I'm going to pass it on to the next one, pass it on to Richard. So if you get ready, Richard, that's GI4DOH from G7NTG with the group.
G7NTG with the group GI4DOH. Just getting my sign done. Yep, evening all, and good to see you again, Jim. It's been a little while, and some interesting little amplifiers there. I've actually, I finished the 70-watt one that I got from you, and in fact, if I can probably go straight at that, then I'll have to look at myself on the screen here. This is my 23 centimeter station, which I talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, trying to get myself in a portable situation, and I can now actually go portable with the this particular setup, all on a Sainsbury's chopping board. Everything in one place, so there's no having to string things together when I get out to the site, and it all runs on battery. And with the combination of the amplifiers that I've got, one of the little brick amplifiers theoretically gets me 18 watts into the 70-watt one, but I'm getting just over 10 watts out of everything before the shoulders start to come up a bit. So I could do a bit more drive for the bigger amp, but really, even if I get a 3 dB increase, I suspect I'm not going to have too many marginal signals. But it means that I am ready to throw the stuff in the car and actually get out portable. There's a hilltop about 10 minutes drive from here, which should give me a view of the Cumbrian coast and indeed southern part of the Mull of Galloway, the Isle of Man, and things like that. So a great hope for actually being able to use these things that have spent so many hours building and all the rest. So enough for me. I hope I'm not the only one dressed like this tonight. If I am, well, got to do your bit for the times. I'll pass it around to you. I think it's Russ, G4SA Q at the group. This is GI4DOH.
Yeah, GI4DOH and the group, this is G4SAQ. Yeah, okay, Richard, fine business on the hat. Excellent. I completely forgot about that. I could have borrowed one that my wife took to her dancing last week. It would have been ideal, but there we are. Anyway, thanks for keeping the side up there. Yeah. Good on the portable gear, Richard. Looks like a nice setup you've got there, and that's something I'm aspiring to achieve at the moment. You probably remember me saying last week that I'd acquired the Portsdown parts, and work is ongoing with that. I had some helpful advice from Martin about boxing things up during the week, so that was nice. And unfortunately, I had problems getting a GPIO breakout board. The first one that I ordered didn't arrive, but I contacted Noel and he was very helpful, and he sent me out another one a couple of days ago, and it arrived this morning, so that's helpful. So I think the first one's probably got kicked under a table, a sorting office somewhere between here and Basingstoke. But all's well that ends well. I got all the connectors soldered onto the board tonight, and I was having a quick play with it, and suddenly realised there's no takeoff for 5 volts from the header. I don't know why, but I thought there might have been, because I wanted to be able to connect the screen, the 12 volts, the 5 volt supply from the screen to the header. And I can't do that, so I've got to take it directly to the power supply, Maybe someone's got some observations on that, something I've overlooked. That'd be helpful if I have. What else have I got to say? Yes, regarding portable operation, well, that was the whole idea of building a Raspberry Pi with the ports down, and I've now actually acquired a Mitsubishi 30-watt brick for 2 meters, and I've got a heatsink and fan and everything, so I should be boxing that up and hopefully getting myself active on 2 meters to start with. The way that I'm going to mount it on this heatsink, I shall leave enough room for a 70 sems brick as well. Because they're both not operating at the same time, the heatsink should cope all right with that, I think. But I'm going to get a bigger one for 70. They do a 60 watt one, I think, for 70 sems. So if I can run that at about 40 watts or so, that will be quite nice. But time will tell. I'll have to experiment with it. Yeah, I've got some boards to go with these bricks on their way from Ian, GM3SEK. He's designed some boards which have got output filters on them, which will make life a little bit easier, and so I'm looking forward to receiving those. Hopefully they'll arrive before Christmas, and I can peel the vegetables and what have you and slip away and maybe do a bit of work on that. Anyway, that's enough from me, and the next to take it is GU6EFB Keith, who I've not worked before, but in sunny Guernsey. Well, I hope it's sunny. It's always nice when I sail over there. So although I haven't been able to get over there for about 3 years now because of COVID, hopefully maybe this coming year. All right, so Keith to take it from G4SAQ. I'll just put the test card up and then drop carrier.
call sign. Dave, I'm going to put on the chat who wants to take it. But after me, it was supposed to have been G4 Martin, I think. Oh no. Anyway, I can't remember. Oh, G4X80 to take it next. Yeah. Okay, Martin, you take it.
Right, evening all. Thank you, Nigel. 2E0EHH. This is G4X80. Thank you, Nigel. Let's shut that up. Right, let's have some video. Get this right. There we go. Yeah, just a run over for me tonight. Wish everybody Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if I don't make it back up next Thursday. I should do, but I might not. Such is life. Okay, a bit of excitement today. Redefines excitement. Michael recognised the sort of scenery we have here, which is that. Yes, it is a broken back window. It's a second engine for my son's car. Unfortunately, I stacked it up on a piece of plywood, which you can see in the photo, and that extra height was enough for the engine to roll back and the cam cover to hit the glass. That's the first load I've ever had any trouble with over the years. It's an expensive one, 75 quid excess fortunately, but the glass is nearly as much as the car's worth. Anyway, on to other things. I've had fun accessing GB3 JV, and this is my new PA. It runs a maximum of 50 milliwatts, and I can get a 6 dB more on JV with 20 milliwatts, and that's this end of my feeder, so I'm quite pleased with that. I've also got a Polycom which has arrived, but I can't get past the network setup page. I have factory resetted it, but I haven't got time to pursue that now. And the remote was dead. That's that one. It's had a battery leakage inside, and I took it all apart, cleaned it all out. Doesn't want to know. So the vendor is sending me a new one. What was in the boot here? Well, they didn't ask actually. They just said, how did it happen? I said a load shifted, and left it at that. Fingers crossed it's booked in for tomorrow morning, which is very good service. Okay, that's it from me. My list is such that it's round to you now, Mike. So best wishes to everybody. I won't be coming back, but I'll wish you well as I've done already, and say see you next time. M0 MJW to take it from G4X80. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, wrong one. Never mind. See you all.
Drop the power bit, don't want to be running too much power. Still not got a picture through yet. Okay, we have, good. Yeah, I'm in the alternative QTH with a inadequate dish, which has become insensitive as well, and I don't know why. But I seem to have lost about 2 dB since I installed it. So maybe it's got water in it, or on it, or somewhere, and needs adjustment or whatever, I don't know. But it was working fine on Sunday, and now it's a little bit poor. It's fine on the uplink, it's just deaf on the downlink. Right, okay, just a few comments then. Firstly, the picture, which you can see there, is the view out of the window here. So that's roughly in the direction of QO100, so there's not a major issue with trees. But I need to get a dish or something. Local garden trees, perhaps, but no problem from the patio. I need to get a better dish up here, and that's the plan. At some point, I do have a 1.2 metre, but moving them is not easy in a car. You might be able to put a car engine in the back of a boot, but getting a 1.2 metre dish in is rather more difficult. And I guess you'll just have to be less heavy with the accelerator, Gareth. Anyway, what else? Richard, very nice breadboard there from Sainsbury's, good setup. And Russ, the GPIO board, the new GPIO board that I've designed for the Portsdown 4 does have a 5-volt output, and it also has a 12-volt output. So that will be an option when it gets around to being done. Nigel, really good video this time, but the sound was definitely at 11, so you might want to turn it down a bit. It was certainly very, very clear, and the picture was excellent. I'm glad you got your Winter Hill going. And what else? Oh yes, the Polycom. Yeah, it's easier with the remote control. The other thing is you need to get in there and change the password to something you can type in on the remote control, and that is difficult to do via the remote control, I'm afraid. So it would be good if you could get it working. I don't know why it's not working. It should be, but anyway, when you've got time, have a go at that. I don't think there was much else, but one thing I did want to do is, like Richard, is to get in the Christmas spirit. So there you go. Behind me, you should see there a Christmas tree and some decorations which I have not hung up ahead of me. So, and this is with the C920 camera, so I probably want to look at that rather than at the screen. Right, okay, so who is next? Let me just look at the other screen again and go back to this one. It is G8HKN. Okay, so on to you. G8HKN, G0MJW, putting up a test card.
One, two, test. One, two, test. I know what you're thinking. Good evening, viewers. And on the QO100 net from G8HKN. I was hoping there'd be lots of people on tonight so that I wouldn't have to say too much, but I found a couple of things to mention. Keith, when you were testing earlier you had no null packets, so I guess it's given up the ghost. And to Russ, I looked you up on QRZ.com this week, and very impressed with the trip on the yacht to the other place and back again, etc. Very impressed indeed. And I also noticed on the BATC membership that there's several people with the same surname as yourself from that neck of the woods, so I guess the family are all into this amateur radio lark. And yeah, Richard, I've put a hat on, so there's at least a couple of us, and more to come. The other thing is, I missed part of the HV net on Tuesday, It was the very bit where Noel was explaining where HV is going to. And he mentioned Roy and aerials, and that's all I got. There is 2 Roys, one in Worthing and one in Alton. So I don't know if that was a clue, but perhaps if Noel's coming up shortly, he could let me know what I missed. I saw the photographs, but I didn't catch the bit before the mention of Roy and the aerials. And the news on JV, unfortunately only one of the aerials on JV is working, the one pointing west, and I'm southeast of it, and so the other aerial is pointing, or when it's connected, will be pointing northeast. So still not ideal, but I can manage to get in off the back of a flat panel pointing west, so it's a good start. But hopefully when the other aerial is connected, I can get in a bit more reliably. Right, what else is there? Last week there was a lot of talk about flying, and in 1974 I had a go at flying and did about 6 or 7 hours at the Air Touring Club at Biggin Hill, which was a blue building the other side of the runway, which meant I had to drive across the runway, admittedly at one end, but you had to stop, make sure there was nothing coming in, and then go for it to get the other side of the airfield. It's all changed over there now with all the industrial units and goodness knows what else, but I had a go, and my stomach and my wallet caused me to give up. And the aircraft never seems to get mentioned. It was a rally club built by Aerospatiale, people who built Concorde or half of Concorde, and it's called an MS8800B or something, a rally club, but never hear of them these days, so I guess they've all perhaps they've all crashed or just worn out. Right, I think that's it for me. Let me see who is on the list. It's Martin. Right, over to Martin G4FKK. Let me just put test card up, then you won't be able to see me just sitting here waiting for the transmission to end. So G4FKK and the net from G8HKN.
Yeah, fine, Roger. Seem to have an enormous delay again. That's interesting. That doesn't usually happen with the Lion Mini that I'm using this evening. Oh, evening all. I had prepared the hat, Richard, and I was waiting for someone else to do it first. So you were quite an early adopter of the ridiculous hat. So there you go. And good evening, Jim. Nice to see you again. Well done for souping up that amplifier. I think you said it was on your 23 SEM site, but then it's a 2.4 gig amp, so I may have misunderstood something there. Richard, your portable gear looks absolutely fine business, old man. And you'll have to make sure you let us all know when you take that out on the streets, as it were. And Russ, good evening to you. Glad the Portsdown's coming on. And you got the 30-watt brick for 2 meters. And I had a look at your QRZ page as well this week, and the sailing is very impressive. It's all too wet and cold for me, sailing. I did go sailing once in a sunfish in the Caribbean once, and I only managed to get back to the island because the wind suddenly changed and I had to tack back towards St Lucia, And I only knew how to do that because I'd read Swallows and Amazons. And we had very little instruction on these things. Yeah, I don't know if you're watching, Keith, but it would have been good to see you there. And it was a very good picture earlier, so soon. And Nigel, good to see you on again. I'm glad the Winter Hill's still working. OBS next. We'll do that probably not this weekend because it's a bit busy this weekend, but maybe during the week we can have a play around with OBS. If you're still watching, Gareth, yeah, I saw the picture earlier. Extremely, in fact, when I first saw the picture pop up here, it looked like the engine had come out from the front of the car. I was going to say, you gunned that a bit hard, didn't you? Yeah, well done on GB3 JV. I've been doing some tests today with this, which is something that Gareth kindly lent me. It's a C-band LNB. And it works. It's very sensitive. I can pretty much get a picture from a barefoot Lime Mini all over the house, but I'm unable to see JV as yet. So a bit more work to be done there. Mike, yeah, excellent view from your to the satellite belt from your patio there. I wonder who owns that field that's beyond your garden, and whether they'd mind you putting a top band dipole up. Be a good location up there, depending what the noise is like for top band. You don't have to be high for top band, but you need space. So that's what you got there by the look of it. Yes, I liked your digital decorations. So I've got the analog version here. Roger, well, I'll leave Noel to tell you about any HV plans, and JV, well, I've just told you what I'm doing there. And yeah, I remember air touring. I don't remember the Rally Club though offhand, so the MS88. So I'll have to look that one up. And when I was very small, probably about 5 years old, my uncle Des, who had some lovely old racing cars, had a Bugatti from the 20s and a thing called an Amel car. And they used to let him go up there in the evenings and drive this thing very, very fast around the Perry track of Biggin Hill. And depending on what the flying conditions were he was sometimes allowed to hack it up the main run, well, not the main one, the cross runway that's now shut, sadly, at Biggin Hill. Right, that's enough from me, I think. Colin's not here, evidently. If you are watching, Colin, I hope Mrs. Colin gets well soon. Oh, look, there's Mrs. FKK trying to sneak out. No, but if I move, they'll see. Looks like Mrs. FKK doesn't want any publicity. So with that, round to you, Noel, G8 GTZ, and the Net G4 FKK standing by.
Right, sorry about that. Obviously I haven't turned the mixed external video on. Anyway, I thought I'd go overboard. I just happened to know the box where these things were, and I dragged 3 out. There we go, it's more balanced. Plus I got the Christmas tree down, and mine's got lights on it, Mike. And we've got the pullover on. So right, there we go. I think that's done the Christmas thing. Perhaps it ought to be Noel with 2 dots over the E just tonight. Yes, evening all. what to say, Russ? Glad that one arrived. Good. It was fairly fast actually. It was. I only posted it yesterday, so there's clearly not too many postal delays at the moment. And Richard, you can get 5 volts off this card. You stick the 5 volts on here, and there's a fuse, and there's plenty of room to dab a wire on the other end and pull 5 volts off there. So you put 5 volts in there, fuse, and dab it off there to the screen. Is that clear? Yes. Good. HV. Yeah. The kind of sad news is that last Saturday. God, this hat's annoying. Last Saturday we had to remove HV and the web SDR that covers the southern part of England. Thank you, Mike. That was yesterday. But thank you. I've got to the point where I don't count them anymore. So we lost the site, which is very careless of us. But we had to move the web SDR and the 2.3 gig beacon and GB3 HV off the Farnham site, which is unfortunate. Regarding GB3 HV, we believe we found another site, or almost certainly it's going to revive, and it will be in the village of Medstead, so actually the coverage will be different, if not better in some directions. It's going to be at the home of GHCKN. I need to check to see whether he's in the call book or not under that address before I talk too much about it. And the intention is to try and get it back up as soon as possible, certainly with just a 77 receiver and maybe a web streamer. In the meantime, it is actually running from here. It's running from here. That's it. Oh no, that isn't it. Hang on, need to adjust the camera slightly. I misadjusted it. So it's there. That's it. There. But there are plans afoot to try and rebuild it. Currently it's got a lot of horrible yellow phonos on it, which don't do anything for the video quality, and there are plans to try and rebuild it for to be HDMI based. So we're looking at what we can do, and perhaps do a standardized design that we could make available to other groups. Yeah, that's the plan. But at the moment it's still on from here. It's just basically stream in, stream out. So it's not really an amateur radio repeater, but it does work, and it keeps the community going. So we're happy to do that. But we will try and get a 77 receiver up as soon as possible from the new site. So that was that one. And Gareth, yes, that was pretty impressive, that what the engine block did. And Martin, you got something wrong. You said something about how you thought it had gone through the windscreen, and he would have been putting his foot down to get it through the windscreen. Well, actually he wouldn't. He would have been braking very sharply. Right, not sure if I'll come back for a second one. I might just come back and wave my hat. In the meantime, I will put it round to, I think the list has changed, I think it goes to James. Yeah, round to you, James, if you're ready. From 8GTZ and the BATC Net.
Just checking the audio. Yep, we're okay. Yeah, good evening everyone. I thought you'd forgotten me, Dave.
I've been sat here watching everything with interest. If anybody wants any more of these, if I can bring that up to the screen, get it in line, that is. I've got about 20 of these. They're ex-equipment, but in perfect working order. Input is 9 to 36 volts, and output is 12 volt DC at 1250 milliamps. And I use one of these in my PA to supply the bias. So, as I said, they're ex-equipment. They're free if anybody wants any. I've got about 20 of them. And I remove them from some printed circuit boards at work that otherwise will get thrown away. So they're really too good for that. And new, they're £150 each, incidentally. Okay, that's basically it from me. I won't be back next time. I'm pretty tired. I've actually been to work this weekend. I've got to go in again tomorrow. Somebody's got to keep the telephone systems working. But, there you go. So, Merry Christmas, everybody, and hopefully see you over the Christmas when I'll be less tired. I'll have had a bit of a rest. So, good evening to everybody, and see you next time.
Not sure. Yeah, I do seem to have some audio. Sorry about this, guys. Yeah, good evening all. Nice to see everybody. Weeks and weeks, and now finally think I'm. A few issues here, but we're on the air, and yeah, I'll leave it at that.
GU6CFV G8GKQ. Managed to mute the sound there and have a picture. Right, Christmas hat. Well, I can't really wear it. It flops over my head, but there's some effort. A Linux Christmas hat for you. Yeah, I wondered, Keith, lovely picture, but only there occasionally, as was the sound. I think you've probably got too much data, i.e. not enough null packets in your transport stream. That seems to be the problem. But we didn't really have a time to do analysis on it. But perhaps just check the settings of the encoder compared with the modulator. Great, well there's lots to talk about there. James, thanks for coming on. Those modules are really useful, those Traco power modules. Perhaps if you can put one aside for me. I don't need it at the moment, but I will do shortly. Roger, Air Touring Club. Now that brings back memories. In 1977, I think it probably was, I got checked out on the rally and flew it a couple of times. I think most of them have now been scrapped. and I was up at Old Sarum Airfield about 2 months ago on my daily walk, and there was actually a rally on a lorry being scrapped there, because there is now a scrap merchant at the airfield. But it wasn't a club, it was a Commodore, I think, that had been used for glider towing. But that brought back memories. And of course the Air Touring Club is now I think it's the Historic Aircraft Company that do all the Spitfire flying out of that hangar at Biggin Hill. Mike, good to see you on from up there. Nice view from your shack, that's for sure. And Gareth, 20 milliwatts into JV. Can't grumble at that, can you? Nigel, good to know you've got your Winter Hill working. Yeah, can be a bit of a challenge. Russ, on the portable kit, that looks... glad you're getting that together, and yeah, I would suggest taking a lead off of that fuse socket somewhere around there for the 5 volts for the screen that Noel pointed out. And Richard, the nice portable setup all on one board, that's really good. Jim, if you could write something up for CQTV, I know it's a couple of months away, but websites tend to sort of fade away, but if you put something in CQTV, it will be in the archives forever, like we've still got CQTVs from over 50 years ago. So it would be really useful if you could write up at least a summary from of how to get those PA modules working. Okay, this week I went up to help with the HV dismantling. I did take one photo from up the top of HV. This was after we'd taken all the aerials down. I'll transition to that, and then I will wobble the camera around to show you the next thing I want to show you. So that is looking... must be southeast, and at the far right hand side there you can just about see the mast where the other Farnham beacons are on in the woods there. I believe that's the one. The weather was beginning to clear there. The view to the north was pretty horrible. Right, the other thing I have been working on, you might be able to hear it in the background, is, let's just get the camera view right before I fade across to it, is this spectrum analyzer. I had it in bits last week. I've got it all back together again, and now operating, not perfectly, but good enough to be of use. Needs calibration, and there's one switch fault remaining, but I've moved on to some other projects for a while. But I was really pleased to get some life into that. The other thing I did was modified the XY viewer in the Portsdown. Sorry, the hardware I use along with the XY viewer in the Portsdown, so that I can capture the screen off of that HP from the back panel sockets, and that's the 77 transmission that I had going. That's actually a DATV Express, which is why it looks so clean. You know, it's about 60 dB clean in 77s there, which is really nice. Let's put something sensible back up. There we go. The other thing I've been working on is too small to show really. A little PCB there, it's not going to focus, with an AD9850 on, and that's going to be a addition to the signal generator in the Portsdown, which should take the coverage from 50 megs down to audio, I hope. And there was one other thing I've written down here, but... Oh, Perry track at Biggin Hill, yes. My first driving was on the Perry track at Biggin Hill at the age of 13. I needed a cushion, but that's where I did my first driving, so there's lots going on. Right, back to the top of the list to Jim. G7NTG and the group G8GKQ.
mute it. Not to be outdone with the hat. Right, okay. Fine with that. About CQTV, Dave, I will do that. I will send an article in. I'll tidy up the one I've done. Yeah, I know it's the little website I've got. It's a group. 23 SEMs it says, but I can't change it now. It's set, so that's why it's got lots of unusual things in it. Nice to see a nice. Is it a real-time spectrum analyzer? Very nice. And behind me are my PAs for TV on 2 meters, 4 meters and 77s, and they're all Mitsubishi modules. The 4 meter one is 30 watts and the other two are 60 watts, and they're class A, so they draw about 10 amps, the two 60 watt ones. But the output is lovely. It's beautifully clean. So that's good. And right, Nigel, lovely pictures. Very nice. I had to watch you on the streamer though, because your signal level was a bit below my receivability. So I've got to have a look, check the alignment of my dish, because even the beacon's quite low level tonight. So I might have to check on that. Don't know whether anybody else is receiving the beacon a bit low. Might not just be me, but it probably is. And yeah, flying. My first flying was from not far from here with a friend. He used to take me up and let me take the controls. And I used to fly around for half an hour or so. And then about 6 years ago, my partner, she gave me a present for Christmas, a bit more than that, 10 years now, for an hour's flying, so flying experience. So the guy let me take it off and then fly it for an hour, but I made sure he landed it. So that was good. Enjoyed that. Okay, so that's all I've got to say. So with that, I'm going to wish everybody a very happy Christmas. I won't wish Happy New Year yet, although it's intended, because I hope to be on next week. So now I believe it's round to Richard again. So GI4DOH from G in TG with the group.
G7NTG with the group GI4DOH. Thank you, Jim, and all the others for coming out in sympathy with the hats. And I don't know if you noticed, it's actually Rudolph on the rather warm pullover here. It's okay for outdoors, but a wee bit warm for the studio. So yeah, a few things there. Ross, I think you find out, certainly my experience was you hack away, you get something working and finish it, and then you move on to the next thing. And it's only once you've got a certain number of things that they come together as a complete system. But I am game. If anybody thinks that they are likely to have a path on 23 centimeters, so just over 10 watts and the 14 element Yagi, which I can have conveniently sort of 15 or 20 feet. From India, Oscar 74 Charlie Oscar is the particular spot that I have in mind. It's not a million miles from the GB3NI repeater, which is also in that square. And basically, if you could hear GB3NI, you could hear this site. I would think. Well, as Gareth, commiserations on the rear windscreen there. That's a bit unfortunate. I had years and years and years ago in Poole in Dorset, I had a Marina engine for my sister's car from a scrapyard, rolled in the back of the car and drained the sump into the boot, which was not very nice. The car never quite smelt the same again, but at least it didn't break anything. Yeah, and nice decorations on the screen. I'm going to have to do a bit more to sort of tweak the virtual studio here. Just one other photograph I came across. I think last week I might have mentioned that from a 2.4 meter mesh dish. I'd spoken to a friend who does sort of engineering as a hobby to find out where I could get suitable materials, and he reckons that it was not really appropriate for me to start off learning welding and all the rest with a view to making a tripod to put the dish on, and said he would do it for me. Well, that's said dish in his garage, much tidier than my garage, and it's just the three legs bolt on through pretty ruggedized stuff. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any issue with weight or even windage on the thing, and the rest, and that's not going to go anywhere very quickly. So I'm spending a bit of time messing about with trying to get a rotator to talk to software and the rest. And I've also got this from the Netherlands. This is a little circular polarization feed for 23 centimeters, which is the band I plan to start on. So it's all happening, lots of things. There's a bit of rubbing down, degreasing of all the metal bits there, and priming them and painting them, get some sort of protection. So that'll keep me busy over the next few days. So a bit of good old manual labour, not doing me any harm. I'll try and work the calories off as quickly as I consume them. So I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I don't know whether we're planning to meet next week or not. I'm certainly free if it's happening, but enjoy the festivities, and I'll see you all again soon. And I think it's Russ, assuming nothing has changed, it'll be Russ G4SAQ with the group. This is GI4DOH.
Yeah, GI4DOH and the group. This is G4SAQ. Okay, Richard. Well, yeah, fine on your tripod there. It's certainly a beast of a thing. Could hold an incredible weight, I should think. Dave, congratulations on that spectrum analyzer. Sorting out those replacement phosphor bronze springs, I think that's quite an achievement you've had there, getting those switches back together. So well done on that. The picture you showed of the transmitter site, I didn't think the woodwork looked too wonderful around the edges up there. I think I might be a bit wary about leaning on the side. Jim, those three PAs you showed us with the Mitsubishi bricks in them, they look absolutely superb, and it's certainly something to aspire to. I'm really looking forward to getting my 2 meter one running, and then I'll move on to a 70 sim after that, as I said, probably in the first over. Roger, yeah, thanks for your comments about my my QRZ page. The family name, actually, I managed to trace it back to about 1620 in the Petersfield area in Hampshire, and then it disappeared. But the other people who are members of the BATC with the same surname, their family group comes from around Petworth in Sussex, and I reckon what happened around the early 1600s that my branch of the family came over to Petersfield, and I think that's what happened. But Simon and Julia are stalwart members of the Horndean and District Amateur Radio Club, and so I know them through that. I don't think I've got anything else to say, really. I'll be talking for the sake of it. So with that, I'm going to wish everybody a very happy Christmas, including all of our watchers on the satellite, and to all who watch us on the streaming service. So a very happy Christmas. G4SAQ is passing it to Nigel 2E0EHH. I'll just put up the test card before I drop carrier.
I never went to talk. I went on Windtail yet, but anyway, I never put him off anyway. I take it. I've got the beacon, so I have to turn the sound down. Yes, all very good. Yeah, then, I forgot the name now. Anyway, like the person who's done that looks pretty good, and you're gonna. I say, no, it's not gonna move. I don't think. I've got my. I'll show you when I get all my videos done when I have built my shack. I've got my 1.2 metre dish bolt through a 18-inch square post gates, and I've put K and Y back them over, unless the satellite dish brings the wall down. It shouldn't, it's safe, but it's put up 30 years of wall, so, and it's not moved. So anyway, it's really time up, and got one or two more people to just finish off. So I wish all the members and all the people watching, etc., a good prosperous Christmas. Cheers, and next Thursday I'll be in I should. Texas in the number one.
Right, okay, oh, it's locked up, good. My half rate signal helps to have half rate coding when you've got a weak signal like me, but there we go. Right, okay, all really interesting, and I hope everyone has a good Christmas break. No, the tree does have lights. I'd just forgotten to switch them on. So there you go. You can see them behind me now. And I think all that I need to do now is wish everyone a Merry Christmas, as I was saying, have a Happy New Year, and I will pass it round straight away to Roger G8HKN, because I noticed that we're getting quite late now. It's just a bit after 9. So 7 for everyone. G0MJW.
One, two, test. One, two, test. G0MJW, and the group G8HKN. Yeah, you caught me out there. I'd taken the hat off because my head was very hot, and had to quickly shove it on and then unmute the sound. So I think I'm here. Jim, you've got a problem with your dish. Nigel was not the strongest of signals, but I think he was D+2, not a minus. So something's not quite right there. To Russ, okay on the relatives. That's strange, isn't it? They're not close relatives, but they're in the area. Yeah, I see they're at Waterlooville, which I thought was close. There we go. To Dave, the rally aircraft, the Commodore, the Club, and the Sport. I've got a picture of the Sport, which I did 1 hour in, which is the Rally Sport, and if I can get the lighting, the Rally Club looks identical anyway. Anyway, that was a long time ago, 1974. And I was wondering where the Heritage Hangar is. It's possibly in the same place then. Although I don't remember there being a very big hangar there. It was the clubhouse, but maybe it was just to one side. And I don't know if anybody else saw the programme that Guy Martin did last week about the Lancaster bomber. He was trying to find out if he could have been a crew in the Bomber Command, and he was doing each of the different aspects of the aircraft. Like he was taxiing, and then he was doing navigating and all sorts of things. And the reason I watched it mainly was because he was supposed to be learning Morse code, but that bit was very short and sweet, and he had a go and didn't get anything right, which is not surprising for first go, but it was quite an interesting program. G8CKN Roy is shown as Alton in the current call book. Medstead's in the same area anyway. It's one of the railway stations, isn't it, on that steam railway there. So it's a bit further than Farnham from me, but you never know. Although I did struggle to get into Farnham, so we will see. Just making a note of the time I'm on. What else is there? Oh, if Rob M0DTS is watching now and listening, you might want to check out the chat page for GB3JV. Your call sign is permanently on the list there, 24 hours a day for considerable time now. It's never counted as a viewer, so somehow it got stuck in there at some stage, so I don't know if logging in will clear that, but it's always there, top of the list, but not counted as a viewer, unless anybody else knows how to clear it. Right, I've had a few things listed, but I think that's probably it. There was probably a few things I should have commented on, but I've missed them out on my list. To Martin, the LMB, yeah, if you supply it with 18 volts, then you twist it round. There is a little scale on the back, or there's a little notch like a coin has been glued to the circular part, and I think you have to have that upright. But mine's in the loft and pointed in the right direction. It needs a little bit of a move around in the loft, I think. Seems to work better when there's leaves on the trees than when without. So I shall be up there tweaking that, and also tweaking the 23 centimetre aerial, because I'm not even sure how accurate that is, since I've never been able to get in. Now I'll be able to find out which direction exactly it's in. I've ticked everything in the box, so I think that's it for me. May I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Saturnalia finished today. Christmas starts tomorrow. And I may or may not be around for next week. I might end up just coming on and watching. And who am I putting around to? Oh, Martin. I'm going to put it around to Martin. Let's just fight with OBS to get the next thing queued up. Right, here we go. 73 is all. Happy Christmas from G8HKN and handing over to G4FKK. Cheers, everybody.
Yeah, fine. Excuse me. Fine, Roger. G8HKN, G4FKK. And all copied from everybody, which was good. We missed a bit of your audio, Keith, but the null packets were reading 8 when I had a look, so I don't quite know what might have been causing that. And I'll try and whiz. I've got loads of notes here, but I'll try and whiz through them. Yeah, thanks, Noel, for your explanation of the laws of physics and windscreens. And sorry you had to be. Well, I think James has probably gone, but sorry you had to work today, James. Yeah, well, we were all very impressed when we saw the spectrum analyzer working on Tuesday, Dave, on the HV net. That's rather good. And I didn't know. Well, of course, I don't know how old you are. You're probably a lot younger than me, but we may have crossed tracks then if you were up there driving and my uncle was up there. And yeah, Jim, NTG, thanks for joining the Hat Club. We don't feel all alone now, us hatters. And yeah, I think I'm a member of your 23 SEMS group, so I should have dawned on me really. And you're a flyer too. I've noticed a lot of the radio amateurs I've met over the years who are of a more technical bent, if you'll pardon the expression, have done flying at some point or still do. So I think it's just the technical challenge of all these things, isn't it? You know, flying in this country is quite difficult because of all the stupid rules we've got. Sorry if anyone approves of all the rules we've got. And to be honest, the fun bit is the landing. So there you go. I've got your, yes, I wrote down your locator square there, Richard, so I shall have a look at that. And yeah, I can imagine a whole sump full of oil, presumably used and dirty oil as well, in the boot. Can't have been much fun. Dish mount looks wonderful. And okay, on the relatives, Russ, yeah, well, before I met him, there was a very well-known amateur called Dud Charman. I think it was G5CJ, and that's the same surname as me, so I used to call him Uncle Dud. And then I met him at a rally, and it turns out we were actually related, very distantly, but we'd all come from charcoal burning families in Kent, I think, or it may have been Sussex. So quite interesting, isn't it, the old family tree business. My wife's family tree is a lot more interesting than mine. She's blue-blooded. Why on earth she married me, I don't know. Oh, and yeah, the HV woodwork. Let's have a let's do studio mode, and then do that. Let's take that one off for a minute. Yeah, that's the 90-foot wooden mast, and Dave and I. Well, Dave was first up to the top bit up the top there, and he and I managed to break 3 rungs of the wooden ladder. And so I wasn't inclined to go too near the edges, although it felt quite solid up there. Well, the edges did. The fact that the mast was swaying around in the freezing cold wind was slightly different. And then that's the first tranche of the working party. So it's Noel on the left, Tom on the next to Noel, Dave in a very sensible hat when you're 90 foot up in a cold wind. Next, then there's Roy CKN, Mike Elias, and Martin. Is it JHJ? I'm never quite sure of his call sign, but it was as Dave says, it was a quite a good fun day, but it was quite sad in all sorts of other ways, really, that we had to dismantle poor old HV. Nigel, I will definitely be in touch, and thanks for raising a can of Boddingtons at us. Very nice. Other beers are probably available. Mike, in your test card, there's a few missing pixels. Well, it looks like missing pixels on the right. Is it the cyan bar? I'm not too sure. And I'm sure that's deliberate. You never do anything by mistake. So I wonder what they're there for, or not there for. Anyway, what was the other thing? I missed the Lancaster programme, Roger. When I started, I was an apprentice at Marconi's in Hackbridge when I first started there, and one of my colleagues in the Crystal Oscillator Development Department was a chap called Eric, who was a rear gunner in Lancasters, and I heard some hair-raising, stomach-churning tales that he used to tell, and he didn't enjoy it at all, basically. And I'm guessing, David TXJ, I saw your comments, I'm guessing that you're a glider pilot. Jolly good too. I did do some gliding at Lasham once, many years ago. But I quite like having the old donkey in the front. And Roger, I put this particular C-band LNB, Mike, according to its data sheet, I don't know if you'll be able to see down it. So you can. It's got it's got two 90-degree opposed things in there, and evidently it works the same in terms of 12 volts and 18 volts. It swaps the polarity, Roger. So I tried it both ways and skewing it all over the shop, but no sign of JV here, I'm afraid, at the moment. Right, Christmas morning, I've got a top band AM Net 1942 at around 10:30. Oh, okay, Mike, it was an OBS corruption. JNJ, sorry, JNJ is the other Martin. And yeah, we probably burnt the family tree, you're quite right. Well, funnily enough, with his antenna circus, or the aerial circus, Russ, Terry G4CDY and I recreated that at one of the RSGB conventions. So I think I was only there because of the name. But Terry did all the hard work. Right, that's enough for me. Very Merry Christmas to everyone. Merry Christmas to Roger IUZ, who I see is watching, and everyone else who's watching in various ways. And that's more than enough from me. So with that, round to you, Noel, if you're still there. G8GTZ and the BATC Net. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, G4FKK.
Okay. Well, nothing much extra from me. Removed the silly hat, I must admit. I'm very impressed with your your lights, Mike. Very impressive. Not only flash, but change colours as well. Whereas these are static. Okay, I think that's it from me. I suppose I could show one more thing. Mainly because Gareth's on the net. I don't actually think he's seen it, but that was the results of your efforts, Gareth. Thank you very much. But we can talk about that next year. So, good. Right. Let's put that down. Nothing else to show. So, I'll say 73s to all, and have a very good Christmas. I will potentially be around next week, so I may come in and make up the numbers, and if not, we'll see you all sometime. But best 73s for everybody. Have a good Christmas, and we'll
Yeah, I've got problems here. I'm not going to keep it. I wish happy Christmas, and I'll sort all the problems out for next time. It all so 7-3's all.
Oh, okay. So it does work. Right. Oh. Okay, well, I'm surprised at that. Yeah, so you know, Christmas hat for me. I've put some tinsel above the call sign light, so that I've made a little bit of effort, and there is a little tiny Santa kicking around here. I was going to hide him somewhere and see whether you could find him, but I forgot about that. So there we go. Yeah, evening everybody. Sorry I haven't really been paying much attention. I've only just really got in the shack, so unfortunately I've been at work today, so I haven't. I've only done a 2-day week, so I can't really grumble. And we're off now until the 7th of January, so just the way the shifts lie with the 4 on 4 off. So yeah, 2 weeks to well, the most part of 2 weeks to play around with radio stuff and things, so should be good. Yeah, all good. Is the lip sync okay this week? Because it was pretty poor last time, if I remember rightly. Oh no, it's okay. It looks okay on mine anyway. Yeah, it's sad news about HV. But there's not a lot we can do really, is it? We're fortunate to have the repeater lives in Terry's loft, so it is convenient to have an actual amateur station who's got a good location to be able to host the repeater. Although it does take up a hell of a lot of the shack and roof space for other antennas, but yeah, it's still very convenient. That's all I'll say. I certainly couldn't run a repeater from here that was anywhere near the good a coverage as what KM is, but yeah, hard work. So trying to think what else was mentioned. Yeah, your portable stuff looked good, Richard. I sort of caught a little bit while I was grabbing some food when I come in there, so that looks good. It's going to be a bit of a hard push to work over the Pennines to here, but you never know, it could happen. I'm going to try and get out portable over Christmas at some point. It would have been nice if there was a bit of tropo, but I've missed that for this week. I didn't hear a lot here, but I have a few issues with antennas and things like that. But yeah, I didn't hear anything or work anything on 23 SEMs. But I've been monitoring GB3 EY, which is now back on the air again. His PA is repaired, so I can detect EY once again, but yeah, it's only like a dB above the noise on a good day at the moment, so I'll have to wait a little bit to receive that one direct. What else? If your spectrum analyzer sounds good, Dave. Yeah, I know who to come to when I need man fixing now. Patience is required when working on those things. I had my SIGGEN go down just recently, and I don't really know how I fixed it. It was one of them, take it apart, put it back together, and oh, it's working again now. So I've left it back together, and it's at the bottom of the stack, and it's still working. So I don't really know why it didn't. Really annoying one. But yeah, I'm just looking around thinking what I've done. I did a little printing a badge. One of my dad was working on. Well, he does quite a few vintage tractors and things. He doesn't really do them to perfection of anything, but likes to get them back to somewhat respectable state. So I made a little badge that goes on the bonnet on the 3D printer for that. So that came out okay. That was on the new resin printer. So I had to sketch around a drawing to get the font, because I couldn't kind of find the font anywhere. Anything that was quite like it, so I had to load it into Fusion 360 and then sketch around the font to create the kind of outline, and then use the emboss feature onto a curved plate that would fit the bonnet. So that was quite an interesting job to do. So I did that earlier in the week, and I also got some clear resin out of pure curiosity to see whether you could make anything for optical work, and yeah, marginal success. I wouldn't say it's the best stuff to use, but it will need a bit of work to use it. But it doesn't look particularly clear, as you can see from the picture there, but that isn't the finish that comes off the printer. So that there is off the printer, but then I've put some clear resin on the top and just let it drip over the top basically and give it a smooth coating. So it's fairly clear. I mean, you can see it's doing what it needs to do, but it's not anywhere near as good as a proper glass lens or perspex or something, but interesting idea. But yeah, you can make your custom lenses to match a beam pattern for LEDs and things for optical stuff. It's an idea, but as far as resolution goes, so that was just a test of a curved surface, and that's the 50 micron resolution there that you can get on the on this particular printer anyway. For the that's basically the resolution of the LCD that cues the resin, so that's 50 micron layers that's on there, so it's pretty smooth, but of course no good as a lens surface. But if you put like the wet resin and let it just basically run off the surface, it gives you a nice smooth finish to give like a lot clearer optical path. So I'm going to be doing a few more tests with that. I think that's about it really. Various little bits of twiddling with stuff on KM. One thing I'll ask is I wonder if anyone else is using a Mini Tuner Mark 1 with the Ryde and notices whether you have issues with it just stopping working for the original fault with the PLL tune unlock, which we're still seeing at KM unfortunately. So every day one of the rides seems to just die and it's usually the PLL tune lock that is the failure point. So I did go in and change the delay time and number of retries and things, but it didn't seem to cure it. So be interested to know if anyone's using them. Right, so anyway, the only other thing I've been playing around with is lots of Wi-Fi enabled sockets and things, and energy monitors for monitoring everything, and remote control and stuff. So quite a bit of that, and lots of frustration with Tuya and things like that. So there we go. Anyway, I think that's probably a long enough over for me, and I wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and I'll no doubt will be on next week, hopefully with something more interesting to show. I might have actually done something by then, but there we go. Right, so that's probably back round to Dave now. It is. Oh, last thing, I saw your email, Dave. I just didn't get a chance to reply. This is turning into a long over, isn't it? But I didn't come on the first time. Analog receive to HDMI. Yeah, we're still using the second port of a Ryde, and we're using VLC with the EasyCap dongle. But if you want weak signal like kind of capability, you've got to you've got to use the UTV-007 chip, the original chipset, to get actual noise visible for a weaker analog signal. But yeah, it's basically just VLC reading the EasyCap. You can set the aspect ratio and things like that, and in VLC you can specify the second HDMI port in the command line when you run it, and that's basically it. As far as sync detection, we're still using a separate sync detector, the traditional LM1881 separator and the 567 tone decoder. So it's that's a separate circuit. So that's basically what we're using. So hopefully that answers your question, Dave. Right, back round to you. GKQ M0DTS on Christmas BATC Net.
M0DTS and the Christmas Net G8GKQ. Okay, yeah. I see Tim has just put the command line up in for VLC. If you're using anything more complicated than that command line, Rob, it would be very useful if you could email it to me if you're using any different options at all. That would be very useful. But that'll be good. Thank you. And yeah, I think the UTV-007 is the only one we're going to be able to use. I did have a play with the other versions, and they don't perform half as well. Minitune Mark 1 with Ryde. Unfortunately, we don't have amongst the testing group a Minitune Mark 1. You mean the FTS 4335, I think it is, the one without the preamp. We did have some problems to start with that I know Tim worked on, and we thought we'd cured it, but maybe I wonder, Tim, if there's anything more we can do with that. The rest looks very good, very impressive. You mentioned putting the SIGGEN at the bottom of the stack again. Yeah, yes, the reason the Spectrum Analyzer hasn't gone in the bottom of my rack stack yet is I don't trust it yet. I want to burn it in a while before I put it at the bottom of the stack. Jim, thank you very much for the doing the CQTV article. And Richard, that dish looks very impressive. Right. With that, I will say thank you very much to everybody for coming on. Wishing you all a very happy Christmas. We'll see you here, same place, same time next week. And if we don't, we're wishing you a healthy new year. Good night all. G8GKQ.